A new Coinbase report is out on altcoins, and they're choosing the next winner to pump after Ethereum cools off. And Ethereum has just been on a generational run lately. You can see, it's spent months and months, over a year, just stuck in a sideways range. And then boom, all of a sudden exploded to over $4,500. And this does not seem like it's going to slow down anytime soon. Spot Ether ETFs, these are the investment vehicles Wall Street loves as far as ETH exposure. They racked up $3 billion in sales in August. And this is the best month we've ever seen for Ethereum ETFs. And not only was it the best month, we are set to record the strongest week within the strongest month. And this is going to lead to tons and tons of trickle-down effects within the cryptocurrency sector. And that's mostly going to be because of this path to alt season. First thing to pump is always going to be Bitcoin. But after Bitcoin pumps, there's trickle-down effects, and those trickle-down effects end up pumping Ethereum. But after Ethereum pumps, that's when it goes into the large caps. Let's identify which large caps. Because picking the right winners is how you're going to separate your portfolio from the losers' portfolios. Now, Coinbase has given us a little bit of a guide, a template on which altcoins they are picking to be winners, specifically within the Ethereum L2 ecosystem. Now, this article is referencing a Coinbase report. So we're just going to go straight to the report rather than, look at this summarized article. This is the report in question. Monthly outlook. Altcoin season cometh. Coinbase is predicting a full-blown alt season starting imminently. We think current market conditions now suggest a potential shift towards a full-scale altcoin season. Now, they define altcoin season by when at least 75% of the top 50 altcoins by market cap overperform Bitcoin over the past 90 days. Now, if you scroll down to the bottom of this report, you're going to see this section right here, ETH betas. No, they're not talking about ETH devs with limp wrists. They're talking about plays within the Ethereum ecosystem that kind of have a beta effect to the alpha asset. Alpha asset in this case would be Ethereum. So when Ethereum moves 5%, maybe the beta plays could move even more, maybe 10%, maybe 20%. Now, within the section, they pick some winners, and so we're going to kind of dive into this. With respect to higher beta to ETH returns, these are the tokens they're listing. Arbitrum, Athena, Lido, and Optimism. Those are top in the list. But it seems Lido has already benefited from the recent ETH rally. They've gained 58% month to date. So that leaves a few other tokens. So we still have ARB, Athena, and OP. But wait, we don't actually have ARB. ARB has already pumped. When you go to the ARB chart, you can see a few days ago, suspiciously timed right around this report released yesterday. This almost makes me think that this was a leaked copy. Maybe an ARB whale knew it was going to be included in that list, or it's a coincidence. But ARB went from 43 cents all the way up to 57 cents. And looking at the hourly chart, that was a 34% pump in 1.5 days. So we have Lido that's already pumped. We had ARB that had a pump suspiciously timed around this report. So now we're left with two tokens. So now let's look at Athena and OP. We're going to start with Optimism. Optimism charts look a little convoluted, but I'm seeing a little glimmer of hope here. Now, one thing I noticed, Optimism did have a nice pump right around the Trump election. And we were seeing some signals on the charts suggesting a correction, suggesting a turnaround, suggesting a coin pump. And that indicator to me was the relative strength index creating a higher high while the price was making a lower high. And this is what they call a bullish divergence. After the downtrend, it put in a pretty strong bullish divergence on the daily chart, and then it would create a nice sustained pump that essentially, topped out 124 days later. And it's a pretty respectable rally. OP would pump 150% during this about 4-month time period. Well, right now I'm seeing something pretty similar. Right now we have some hidden bullish divergence. We can see a lower high while the RSI is relatively flat. But OP really needs to turn this chart around. This is the OP ETH chart, and this is OP priced in Ethereum. Now, OP has been bleeding against Ethereum for a relatively long time now. This is going back 595 days, so almost 2 years. But eventually all roads must come to an end, and it looks like maybe this road is coming to an end. Now, still on the daily chart, you can see OP just losing against Ethereum, heading down, heading down, heading down. However, the RSI seems like it's starting to maybe potentially find a bottom. It looks like it may be poised for a little bit of a turnaround. If you go the 3-day, you can see, maybe this playing out a little bit as well right here. And looking at the RSI, looks like, maybe a little bit of a trend line here may have found the bottom as far as the RSI goes. Now, as far as OP price prediction, it needs to flip into support these exponential moving averages. This is the 50-day exponential moving average, but we also want to look at the 20-day. So we would click settings and then plot out the red line. This is the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200 days. So we're looking at the 20 and the 50. And during this bearish period, we're trying to flip the 20 into support, trying to flip the 50 into support. And this is the beginning signs of what we see during these uptrends. It's exactly what happened right here. Downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. And then eventually we were able to flip these two moving averages into support, had a nice little rally. Right now, trying to flip these moving averages into support as we speak. Price prediction, we're just going to use the Fibonacci extension tool, and it's very, very close to a psychological level. So we're going to go from the swing high down to the swing low, and you'll see that the first extension, that 236, once we zoom this a little bit, right here at $1.50. So really, really close to a just a very, very strong psychological level, but we got a level before that, and I would be using this local high. So $1.50 is going to be one strong level. The other strong level is also super psychological level. That's going to be right at $1. You can see the first 236 level right here. It is within a couple pennies, about 1 or 2 pennies from $1. So look at this range as a potential profit taking area, and also right around $1.50 on the larger time frame. Next token is Athena. And Athena's also looking, semi confusing when you go in the charts, but I'm seeing some glimmers of hope here. We have consistent bearish divergences on the daily chart. You can see the RSI losing strength as the price heads higher and higher. Typically, this is going to lead to a reversal, but if you look at the previous pump, that's exactly what we saw right here. We saw a bearish divergence. You see a higher high, lower high. However, Athena would just go on to crush after this. And if you sold right there, you end up losing out on a 4x. So it pumped 306%. So we're looking remarkably similar. Relative strength index, maybe not the best one for a hot token like Athena. There's a lot of large institutional players interested in Athena because they have a stable coin. Athena operates the USDE, which is one of the stable coins being fast-tracked by the Trump administration. So I'm Deezy for Discover Crypto, putting this Coinbase altcoin report on your radar, and hopefully I'll see you in these particular L2s at the top.